Okay, recording. All right. Hello, everyone. Today I'll be running through how to basically flash a program from Simulink using the MotoHawk suite to our ECU. I have Luke over here who's going to also make sure we get the hardware stuff dialed in and show how to disconnect, plug the battery in, get the key switch in with our beautiful high-tech jumper wire. And then also utilize a USB because we have to use two different laptops. Because at this moment in time, as of January 31st, 2022, this current laptop cannot connect to the car, so we're going to use the other laptop to do it. Sick. So first of all, when you open up MATLAB, you're going to be greeted with this screen hopefully, which is initializing MotoHawk and ready. Once you reach this, then you know that MotoHawk is basically running on the computer. Um, all the Simulink files or the ECU files are stored in the C drive under a folder called ECU files. So once you go to ECU files, you can go to models, and these are all the different models that we use in the team. And for demonstration purposes, I created a new project called Surya Test. I will be utilizing that now. So over here, you have a bunch of these folders that are auto-created by the software. Uh, Can basically is where you put all your DBCs. So they give you an example file, and you basically copy and paste however many of these you need, and fill up all the messages. So there's multiple for different offsets, and make sure you specify big endian versus little endian and your payload so you can log those through CAN. Additionally, over here you have your close and setup. So your close basically uh, closes all the root files. So when you close the program, no files are left open. And setup basically adds whatever folders you have here to the root menu. So CAN, images, and library are here, and those are these files right here on the left side. You can also load your cals. So once you have this load cal script, you can have a cals.m file, which will be where all your tables are. So when we want to open the model, we click SLX or MDL, depending on how ancient you want to go. We open the SLX, and this might take some time. I also want to make sure, point out that we have the MotoTune key inside the computer when you open up. Otherwise, this license won't register. So make sure you have the key in. Ready? It's gonna load. Okay, somehow it's here in the corner. So here's kind of what we will look like. Each model looks different. I don't know why, but essentially this is kind of what the block diagram will look like. You'll have your first page which defines your hardware. So here's our PCM 112. This is like the full name for it, the 56044. I don't know, whatever. Just copy the same thing down. We're not going to use different ECUs anytime soon. So on this page, we basically have our MotoTune definition for CAN 1. So the ECU is 3 CAN buses, CAN 1, 2, and 3. 3 is used for all the data, so all the sensors are on the CAN 3 port, and we log that. And CAN 1 is just used to communicate. So we have this definition here to define which of those CAN buses is for MotoTune. We have the fault manager here, and then we also define CAN 3. And one interesting thing here that's 1 meg. So make sure we define that, otherwise we'll run into problems later. So CAN 1, we also have CAN 1 is here, so all that's specified. Uh, this program obviously has no code in it, but it's basically a very rudimentary controller plant setup where you have your sensor bus here on the left side, so all of your physical sensors, and then your interpolated sensors or virtual sensors is basically does math for a few of them, creates new sensors. So for example, like your math sensor has its own little block diagram to make sure we do that, and we also calculate air per cylinder from that. So your controller is where all your control diagrams go. So basically your sensor input and your actuator input, and it tries to minimize the distance between error, minimize error. Your characterization is where all your actuators are. So your actuator bus is all the output sensors, so like your spark plugs, your fuel injectors, and brake lights, stuff like that. And yes, that's pretty much that. So, so now you're going to talk about once you finish making your changes to the software, what you do is you want to do Control B. Oh, sorry, before that, to see the library where blocks came from, you can click on a block and do Control L, and that will take you to the the full diagram, full the block suite for where that specific block came from. This is really helpful when you're making a new project. You want to get to the right blocks. So after that, we can do Control B, which builds the file. It'll first verify all the blocks are okay, your variable definitions are okay, and and it will take some time if you have a larger model. But since this is all basic, it shouldn't be too long. And it'll probably pull up this diagnostic screen. So right here, you can say that the build is that was yesterday's build. So now it's going to generate the code, and you'll basically wait for the code this Green Hill Suite to translate your Simulink code into C code, which is in Flash to the ECU. So usually if you have any errors, it won't let you go past this, but there's nothing we've changed essentially, so this is going to compile. Fingers crossed. So just fast forward to this. Pause the recording. So now it's starting the motocoder, which is like the little software it uses to translate the code. So I'll give some warnings here, but nothing is critical, so it'll still go. Var decks are your variable declarations, and if you don't have those right, then the code will not compile. So now it's creating the DLL. DLL is very important. You want to make sure you have the DLL for the specific pilot program, otherwise you won't know where to link the DLL stands for Dynamic Linked Library. If you don't have that in your computer when you're flashing the ECU, it won't work. So all these files and build succeeded. Now it's creating the tool chain and the SRC. So finally you have your DLL and your SRC. So these are the really important things. I've already done story test once before, that's why it's 001. Gives you a little summary of all the flash memory on it, used on it, stuff like that. So these are the two important things right here, is your DLL and your SRC. So now, because we can't actually flash to the ECU on this computer, we're going to have to use a USB. So we will go to our C drive here, our ECU files, programs, and you can also double check the date here to make sure you get the right one. So this was yesterday's one, this is today's. So we're going to plug in our handy dandy flash drive here. Okay, so now, so we're just going to make a new folder, the date. So we drag the SRZ over into here. And then we also, once that finishes, go to EC files. We want to drag the T. So DLLs live in the TBD DLL file. And we'll put that. So that's it on this computer. You have the DLL and SRZ. You can just double check to make sure those are on here. And you will take exit out of this. Make sure you eject the drive. Drive out. So oh shit, was it just me the whole time? No fucking way. Anyway, that's the narration. Hopefully that works. So now we're going to go over to the other computer. Alright, so now we have our SRC and DLL on this flash drive. We're going to get it onto the computer that actually does it. So first thing to make sure is you have the MotoTune key plugged in. So we'll plug it in here. We'll get this laptop out of here for now. And just to make sure the MotoTune key and the licensing is reading, we go to our motor server. If there's a red X on this button over here, then you click it and then it gets rid of it. So we're going to open up MotoTune, which is this little folder icon here. Then, as we drive in, we're going to go to our file system. And so on the left here is the flash drive, right here is the local file system. So at least at this track top, this is the way we're going to do things. We're going to go here to ECU files, same exact stuff, models, programs. I'm going to copy the most recent program. Here's the program. Copy that over here. Now we're going to go to DLL. Copy this DLL over here. Back. And that's it from the flash drive. So we can now eject this flash drive. So now you should be ready for programming. So this is what it looks like without the key. It says unlicensed, so when the key is put in, it bars marked lemon chick, so that's what we want to see. So now, we'll go over to the harness over here, the programming harness. So this is the programming harness. Okay, so here is our CAN crevasser, so this comes from the harness. This goes to our dongle, and then this side is the USB, which plugs into the laptop. So we're going over there. You're also going to need the ECU key. So here's the this one right here with the purple, black, and red. This is the key switch. So to turn on, you're going to jump the red to the purple wire. So we're just going to stick this in right here for now until we wait. So we'll just stick it in the hot side. And then for power, you can use a power supply. Over here, just for portability, we have the battery, so we can we'll plug the ECU in first. So these are the 3 plugs for the PCM 112. It says 112 right here, so A, B, and C connectors. Pretty hard to screw these up. As I screw it up, this is the C. It's the other way, isn't it?
Yeah.
As I was saying, it's really hard to mess up. You gotta start from the right side. Alright, ECU is now plugged in. We'll power up. Power, and we'll basically have our key switch ready. So once you're ready, we're going to go to File, Program. We're going to pick the one we want, so that's the 001 cal. Click Open. It's going to say looking for ECU. This is when you jump the power. So we're red, and now we want to go to our purple. We jump them, CAN bus lights up, and it starts to program the ECU. So this is a good sign. This is what you want to see. If you wait too long for the loading screen, you might have to start over again. So do it in like a 10-second window, and it should be fine. You can look at the capacitor to see the health of the can. So this is just one bus. So we have yellow, orange light for can, green light for power. Okay, so it's successful. So now we can, to double check, so we will make a new calibration. We go to File, New, Calibration from Programming File. We pick our new test, so that's 001 at SRZ, open that. And we want to name the cal, so let's name it Serial Test 131.22. Maybe calibrator, that's me, sure. Save, and then you'll open this. To go online with an ECU, you can right click, go online. Okay. The ECU is now online. To open up a display, you can do Alt-O. And we made one yesterday, so we're just gonna go with this. And there you go. So the ECU is now connected to the software. Because we have nothing really programmed in, we don't really have much to test. But this is basically, you'll have a display of all your functions and your data in an actual screen, but this is how to create calibration, how to create a display, and how to program an ECU. And once you stop programming, you'll have this green light on, which tells you that the ECU health is good. So that's it. Thank you.